Hello, welcome back to the channel, and today we'll be talking about the Georgia Bulldogs, reigning national champions times 2, looking to three-peat for the first time in basically modern history in pretty much almost every sport I can think of. I mean, we haven't had a three-peat in any professional sport in a while, let alone in college football, where the roster construction is infinitely harder than it would be even in any pro sport. They had the second recruiting class in the country last year, behind Alabama's generational recruiting class. They had 26 commits, 5 5-stars, 17 4-stars, and 4 3-stars, led by Fran Brown doing his thing on the trail. Jordan Hall, 5-star defensive lineman. Raylan Wilson, 5-star linebacker. Joneel Aguero, safety, 5-star. A.J. Harris, corner, 5-star. Monroe Freeling, 4-star offensive tackle. C.J. Allen, 4-star linebacker. I could go all day. It's all a bunch of defense, all a bunch of edges, receivers, a whole bunch of defense, and a whole bunch of 4-stars. It's unbelievable. It's sickening. You just go up and down this list, and you just see guy after guy after guy after guy after guy, and you just see him winning on the trail like nobody's business. Now for the transfer portal, they lost a receiver in Adonai Mitchell. He went over to Texas, but they brought back Dominic Lovett, who's just below him from Missouri. Bear Alexander left for the Trojans of USC. They then brought in Smoke Bowie, a corner. But other than that, a lot of exodus in terms of that there. Pretty much a bunch of people leaving. Ra Thomas came in as a receiver from Mississippi State. And they also brought in Leneath Whitehead, a running back from Tennessee. But other than that, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 players leaving in the transfer portal, only bringing in 4. So big turnover there, but that's kind of expected from how good Georgia is. They bring in these crazy receivers, crazy guys. They don't have many new additions to the offense outside of the guys they lost to the draft. Obviously, Stetson Bennett, one of the biggest guys to replace, but Carson Beck, obviously it's really weird to think and talk about Stetson Bennett because he was a back-to-back champion, clearly, helped to win all these games, but he was always kind of under-respected, and Carson Beck comes in as a more polished, younger, 5-star guy, and he had a pretty good second half against the second-best team in the country, technically speaking, in TCU, when the starters were on the bench with their feet up eating wings because they were doing that good. That defense is just as good as it has been, and Kirby's got the guys ready to roll. Now, any questions? The biggest question is the schedule, right? As for guys that are likely going to leave, you've got Brock Bowers, the tight end. This guy could definitely be in the Heisman discussion. 6'4", 230, absolute freak. Almost on 1,000 yards receiving last year with 7 touchdowns. He had 109 rush yards too. You know, the fact that your tight end's getting the ball and running it is terrifying because every guy in Georgia just seems taller, faster, stronger, bigger than everyone. It's crazy. Coming from a Michigan fan, obviously. I was getting bullied a few years ago. Javon Bullard, a safety. Kamari Lassiter, Cedric Van Pran, Nazir Stackhouse, and Amoris Mims all look to be drafted. That is another 6 dogs going in the first 2 rounds, which is crazy that every year they lose more and more and more, and they still are here. Last year was, you won the national championship. You lost the most amount of people to the first round in draft picks, la. Doesn't matter. Kirby reloaded. Same narrative is happening again this year. When will people learn that this is the new standard in college football? Georgia is the top dog. They have the target on their back from all 300 and whatever it is programs in the country, and everyone's coming for them, and they are the favorite. They have a pretty easy schedule, which is one of the biggest red flags when looking at Georgia, is will the lack of a tough schedule, which is not their fault because the Oklahoma game had to fall off the schedule, will it hurt them going forward? Probably not. I imagine their practices, with how tough they're going to be, that if their offense play their defense in practice, it'd be tougher than anything they faced all year. So I don't even think it's that big of a deal. Looking at this schedule, that is very easy, but not their fault, because Michigan gets the same problems. We get told that our schedule is too easy, and it's never our fault. UT Martin, obviously a win. Home against Ball State, their first conference game. It happens seemingly every year, but not going forward now that the divisions are going to fall apart. South Carolina at home. Then UAB at home. So a good 4-0 to start there. They have the always tricky at Auburn. They'll be playing that game to end the month of September. Then they've got Kentucky at home to start off October. At Vanderbilt, another easy game here. And then they have a bye week, the week of the 21st. And then they have the world's largest cocktail party to close out October. Then they get in November where they've got 2 of their tougher games. They've got Missouri And then they've got the trap game and the guy that loves nothing more than to spoil people's seasons, Lane Kiffin, coming into town the week of the 11th. Then it all comes down to Tennessee, November 18th in Knoxville. Rocky Top will be bumping, probably College game day, could be a game of the year type scenario. And Georgia, it'll be their first real test, hopefully for their sake. If it's not their first real test, then some team came out of nowhere, or Georgia's a lot worse than we thought they were going to be. But it's got to be their best test. Tennessee, they're going to have to lose this game. There's no way I see Tennessee being able to stop that team. But it'll be a great game. It'll probably be one of those games where it's hopefully within a score or two the entire time and super enthralling from end to end for a lot of fans like me, neutral fans, to watch and absolutely love. And obviously they'll beat Georgia Tech. So they're going undefeated. They'll likely be playing one of the three of Alabama, A&M, or LSU in the SEC championship game, where they'll be favored. They're currently, I believe, minus 105 to win the conference, which is kind of nuts, being a minus sign next to a team winning a conference. That's not Clemson in the last few years, but I believe that they will go 13-0. They'll be the number one seed. They'll be in the Sugar Bowl, and they'll face the worst team that the college football playoff has to offer, which will likely not be an SEC team, but maybe a Clemson, maybe a Pac-12 team like a Washington or USC, maybe even a Big 12 team sneaks in with Texas or Oklahoma. But that's all I got pretty much for now with Georgia. Will they three-peat? It'll be hard for them not to be at least in the playoff and the conversation to do so, but maybe the lack of a tough SEC East or even any crossover games will be their undoing, and they'll be maybe not as sharp as they would like to be thinking so, but I very much doubt that happening. I think Georgia will be as good as they were last year, if not better, if Carson Beck, the things we're hearing about him, are true. If Brock Bowers takes that step forward, I think one of those two, Brock or Beck, will be in New York, if not both, and maybe even one of these defensive guys steps up in the void left by Nakobe Dean and Jalen Carter and those guys, and we see one of them in there as well. Obviously, we saw Stetson in New York, and I think we would not be surprising if we see another dog out there this year in New York, maybe even winning the damn thing. Who knows? But that's pretty much all Kirby needs to do now is back-to-back national championships, maybe even a three-peat, and they get their first-year quarterback winning the Heisman or even a tight end winning a Heisman. That would be running up the score on the rest of college football, which the Dogs are already doing, and they're going to keep going. So let me know what you think down below. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.